Hey, welcome to the November edition of the How to Podcast series. What are we doing this month? We're doing an episode every single day for the month of November. Yeah, that's a lot of podcast episodes, Dave. And what I want to do is I want to shine a light on amazing podcasters who are doing great things in podcasting. I want you to meet some of my friends. Now, these are friends that I've met through this podcast. These are friends that I've met by being on their show. These are friends that have been at our meetups. These are friends who I cherish and I think are people that you need to know. The best way to grow podcasting is word of mouth marketing, telling people about people's shows. That's what this is all about for the month of November. It's all word of mouth. You're going to hear from them come on and talk about their podcast. You're going to hear clips from shows. You'll have links to go follow these amazing people. And I want to give you a variety of different amazing podcasters for you to fall in love with. And you found the right spot. This is November. It's all about the listeners. It's all about you. And I want to shine a light on some amazing people. Are you ready? Okay. Let's jump into this because I think you're going to love this. And I'm glad you're here. And what I can't wait for is the day when you and I get to interact. I can't wait for us to meet each other at our meetups, online, through the link in the notes attached to this episode, where you and I can meet each other and I can be there in your corner to support you. I would love to do that. So here's another example of one of my friends at their show, and I want you to fall in love with them just as much as I have. Okay? Welcome to the How to Podcast series. It's November. It's National Podcast Post Month. It's 30 episodes in 30 days, and I want you to meet some of my favorite people in this world called podcasting. It's all about them. It's not about me. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Check out one of my friends. You ready? You ready? Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a podcast I listen to and I really enjoy. Rue Spence, Up An Octave. And what I love about Rue is she knows her audience very well and shows up and does a great job on the podcast. Rue is a great voice in podcasting, and the audience is crystal clear for this show, which is exciting. And I love that a podcaster knows who they are talking to. That's such a cool thing. So if you're looking for a show that talks about podcasting from a different lens than I do here on the How to Podcast series, then this might be the perfect podcast for you. And Rue is, again, a great podcast host. You got to go check out the show. And I would just give you a little clip from the show. And I would love for you to go and support another great podcaster. So here's Up An Octave with Rue, and I hope you enjoy it. So Rue, take it away.
And now, on with the show.
You're listening to Up An Octave, a podcast by Sonivia, the podcasting agency that believes that women and non-binary people deserve to take up space in the podcasting industry because our thoughts, voices, and stories matter. Here you'll learn how to make dope podcasts that inspire, educate, convert, and most importantly, make your voice shine. I'm your host, Rue Spence, and I'm here to take podcasting up an octave. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Up an Octave. Today we are going to have a little quickie to talk about 5 things that every podcaster should know. So whether you are brand new to the world of podcasting or you are a seasoned pro, hopefully these 5 things will help you feel even more equipped to make the best show possible. First off, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, and that is that consistency is key. So when I say consistency, I mean having a regular schedule, and this is both with production and release. Consistency is super important for the algorithm, which I know we are all constantly battling and trying to seek the favor of. And if you are releasing every week on Tuesday, the algorithm is going to take notice. If you miss a couple weeks and then you upload on a Friday and then you miss a couple more weeks and then it's back to Tuesday and then we don't hear from you for 4 months and then it's a Saturday. The algo is not going to know what to do with you. But if you are consistent, and remember that consistency can look like once a month, twice a month, every week, whatever consistency means for you, as long as you are maintaining that and being intentional about when you do choose to take a break or end a season, you are already going to be in the good graces of the algorithm. In addition to that, because I know there are people who are like, I don't care about the algorithm's made up, it is whatever, it changes all the time. Sure, those are all valid criticisms, but human psychology is not. And if you know that every single week on Sunday, your favorite show comes out, you are going to be chomping at the bit on Saturday night, waiting for it to just come out already. If you can build that anticipation, that's going to help your audience get excited and become your super fans. It's also going to give them reliability that lets them build you into their weekly routine. So whether that is their Monday morning commute, whether that is they're getting ready to go out with their friends, wherever you fit in to their week, make sure that you're showing up for them. And then also make sure that you're showing up for yourself. That's the other part of why consistency is so important. When you get into a groove and you are consistently creating content, you are consistently following your content calendar, you are uploading when you're supposed to, you are batching, you are recording content when you mean to, everything just starts to feel like this well-oiled machine. And that makes it more fun to produce content. If you've been listening to me for a while, if you've worked with me, you know that I think that making podcasts should feel good. It's not heart surgery. You, much of the time, are not getting paid to create content, so it really needs to feel good and feel heart-led and feel like something that you want to do and want to show up with. With these other tips, we've talked about how to make content for them, what they want to hear, but now you have to go out and find them. Podcasting is not an if you build it, they will come scenario for most people. So get super intentional. Spend time where your audience spends time and get loud. All right, that's it for today. Those are the 5 things that you should know as a podcaster, and I'm super happy to share them with you. So thank you for hanging out with me. You can come keep the party going on Instagram, where you can find me at Sonivia Studios. You can go grab that Editing with Audacity guide at sonivia.com. Make sure you peep the link in the show notes as well as that coupon code. And I will see you next week. So thank you so much for helping me take podcasting up an octave.
So that's Rue and Up an Octave. And every episode that Rue does is a great content for podcasters. And again, super focused on the audience for the show. It's another great example of how even a podcast about podcasting can be so different from each other. My show compared to Rue's show, right? And that's what we need in podcasting, is more people taking a similar topic and focusing on a group of people to make sure it connects and lands well with the audience that a podcast serves. So I want you to think about this for your own show. If you have a sports show, connect with other sports podcasters. If you have a business show, connect with other businesses. I'm hearing podcasters actually say that they're afraid of highlighting their competition because they're afraid they're going to lose their audience. If your audience moves to another podcaster because you've introduced them to them, it's not a loss, it's a win, because you've helped them narrow down a podcast that serves them better. This podcast that I'm doing, the How to Podcast series, might not serve you to the way that Rue's podcast can. So that's not a loss to me, that's a gain for you to be in the right place with the right voice, leading and guiding you through podcasting. I think that's a better placement of your time and your attention to be listening to the show that serves you. So I'm proud to highlight other podcasts about podcasting. There's some that I might not send you to because I don't think you'll have a great experience, but Rue's podcast is one of those shows I highly recommend that you go listen to as a complimentary podcast to what we talk about here, or go follow Rue, and I'm sure you will enjoy that podcast. Thanks for listening. It's November, and we're focusing on so many great podcasters in the month of November. It's National Podcast Post Month, so I'm excited to share yet another podcast with you. Thanks for listening. And Rue, thank you for a great show. So I love being a podcaster. I love meeting these great people. And I love the fact that you press play on this episode and that you're still here. That tells me that there's something here for you. And if you're like, Dave, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this community, and I want to spend some time with you. There's a link in the show notes. It's just for you. You and I can get together and chat about your podcast, answer any questions you have. And the most important thing is we get to meet each other. So if you feel like you've been podcasting alone, you should never podcast alone. You should podcast in a group. We have a community just for you. And I, Dave, would love to be part of your community. Howtopodcast.ca is where you can find me, find our amazing community, and meet the people you've met here today on this episode. So, what are you waiting for? Stop podcasting by yourself. Reach out. I would love to talk to you. Happy National Podcast Post Month, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for being part of a community, and thank you for listening to this episode. Howtopodcast.ca. Take care.